So I'm in Brooklyn, Williamsburg. I'm staying at the Penny Hotel, which I picked because I saw exactly one YouTube video where they were like, it's fine. And it is fine. There's a restaurant on top and the food is not great, kind of expensive for the size, but the cocktails, very good. Anyway, I'm here for work, but I did come a day early because I wanted to go to Brooklyn and walk around and look at bookstores. And it just so happens that it's the Brooklyn bookstore crawl. And I didn't know that this was a thing, but we're here for it. So I'll put up the map of the 3 bookstores I walked to yesterday. Today I have to go into Manhattan for work. I've never been to Manhattan. This is my first time in New York. I've never been here. So I don't think I will get to do any bookstores, but I do have plans to make it to a yarn store before it closes. But let me tell you the bookstores I went to. It wouldn't be a book vlog if I didn't talk about what I'm reading. So I have not even cracked this open yet. I brought this to read on the train. I took the train down. It was amazing. Oh my God, why aren't there more trains? I love trains. It was amazing. I just sat there, no TSA. Like there was room. We could look out the window. It was amazing. Everybody needs a train. But I brought Blob by Maggie Su, and I think this is a love story about depression. I haven't cracked it open yet because instead I just knit a sock, not a whole sock. I'm working on a sock. This is a first sock. I will make a second sock, but I don't like the colors, you know, but here we are. I feel like if I'm going to start talking about knitting, I should talk about this kind of thing. This is the yarn, Knit Picks, Stroll Effects, Northern Lights. I kind of wanted it to be like oceany, but it's a little too purpley. I don't like it, but I'm going to finish it. I'm going to wear the sock, like it's fine. So the first bookstore I went to is called Archestratus, and I didn't realize this when I put it on my list, but it's like a food-themed bookstore. So they have like a little, I think you can order food and coffee, but they also sell like Italian pastas and honeys and spreads. And all of the books, like there are new books and used books, but they're all themed around food. So there was a ton of cookbooks, but it was so cool. It was so cool to see like such a weird compilation of books. And here are the 2 books I picked. Binary Star, and this is a road trip book about a woman and her boyfriend who, she has an eating disorder, which is why I think it's in the food books. And it just sounded really interesting. Like, you know, I'm gonna get anything that has to do with space. And I'm going to critique whether or not she actually knows what a binary star is. Because I'm an asshole. I'm the worst, actually. But I'm excited to read this. I also got this little book, Teeth, by John Patrick Higgins. This is an essay about teeth, which I'm actually obsessed with. You can't tell, but when I turned 30, I got braces because my teeth were very, very bad. And I had never had the money. And so when I turned 30 and I had a postdoc and I had like real money for the first time, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my teeth fixed. And I had braces for like 2 years. And now they're fine. Now it's fine. But I still feel self-conscious about it. And I'm obsessed with other people's teeth journeys because so much of it is like, I don't know. I guess in America, we feel very self-conscious about our teeth, but in other places in the world, nobody cares. Like, you don't have to have straight teeth. My teeth, maybe I should find a picture, but my teeth were like all on top of each other, and it started to be a safety and health issue because they were moving in my mouth, and they were causing my molars to go up. And so it was like gonna be bad, so I had to get braces. But also, I'm happy with the result. But I'm just so interested in other people's teeth stories. So I got those 2. It was a great bookstore. And then there's like, you can walk straight down to Word Bookstore. This whole walk was like 3 miles total. It was totally fine from the hotel. So this bookstore was really cute. There was like an upstairs with like your fiction and your sci-fi and your new releases and the kids books. And the kids book sections in all of these stores are very cute. I did not buy any kids books though. And in this bookstore, there's a downstairs where they keep like the essays and the memoirs and the science and the history books. And I just thought that was really nice. But also I was there with my partner, and there was another couple in the store, and they were just having like a silent whisper fight, and it was very funny. We went downstairs to escape, and like we were looking at the books, and then they kind of like also came down, and she was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And the man was like, "I thought I was attempting to buy a book. What are you doing?" And she's like, "You know, you're not the only one who has things going on in their life." And it was made the experience. It was very funny. Anyway, I bought this book. It just looked very interesting. It's called Free to Obey: How the Nazis Invented Modern Management. And I think it's an essay on like the history of work in the United States and how that relates to Nazi management. As an anti-work person who's currently on a work trip, this is kind of just what I want to read. I also got this beautiful, beautiful book called The Language of Trees. And it's a compilation of writings and essays about trees. And I picked it up because Max Porter, who I like, called it a masterpiece. But it's got so many people in here. Here, I can just show you who's in this book. So interesting. So I think this will be really exciting to read. And my partner picked up this absolutely beautiful book. It's a cookbook. And I know we went to the food bookstore and we didn't buy any cookbooks, but then we got this one, and it's just so pretty. It's Pakistan food, and it's just like a lot of curries and rice dishes, but it's also got these like essays. It looks wonderful. Yeah. So this is like a really nice display book too. It's so pretty. The last bookstore we went to is McNally Jackson, and not the one in Manhattan, the one here in Brooklyn. And it was a little bit smaller, but I went because that's kind of like a bookstore. Like, it's not like a small curated bookstore, right? It's just like a regular bookstore. And I was hoping they would have knitting books, but all I had were sewing books. And that's just not what we're about. But I did found 3 books that I got. So this was on the recommended shelf by the bookstore, the people who work at the bookstores. And oh my God, I read that book, The Factory, last year about work life, and this just gave me the same feelings. But listen to the back. The employees reshuffles a sci-fi voyage into a riotously original existential nightmare. Aboard the interstellar 6000 ship, the human and humanoid crew members complain about their daily tasks in a series of staff reports and memos. I'm so excited to read this. I love to see this. Like Severance, but in space, maybe? I'll let you know if it's good. I also got David Graeber, Anarchy, in a Manner of Speaking. And I love David Graeber. There's so many books that I have. I actually kind of wanted to do a video where I kind of just review all of his books, but I hadn't seen this one, and it's like a conversation between like philosophers and thinkers on economics and work and human life. And I thought that sounded really cool, and it's a beautiful copy. See, this is what I love about going in person to a bookstore. Like, it's just really nicely printed, and it's like sturdy. I really liked the look of this. So I'm interested in this. And the final one I have been seeing around. I'll have to cut this out. The final book I got, I've been seeing around. It's called On the Calculation of Volume 1. It's a woman in an 18th century Groundhog's Day situation. And that just sounds really interesting. Groundhog Day situations are one of my favorite situations, and it's one of 7. And I don't know if she's written all 7 or what the story could possibly be, but I have been seeing people talk about this. And it's also really pretty. It's a good green book. Okay. So the 2 days in New York are over. It is the morning. I have to catch a train. And have I mentioned that I love trains? Trains should be everywhere. I forgot to say that after we did the little Brooklyn book walk thing for Independent Bookstore Day, which is today. This won't come out. You missed it. Sorry. So after the little Brooklyn book crawl that I did, I took the train down to Prospect Park. So I'm in Williamsburg. I took the subway down, and I gotta say, if you sit on the left side, you can see the Statue of Liberty. So if you're like me and not gonna do the touristy things, like you could just look at it that way. We saw it; it was there. Prospect Park was beautiful. It's huge. We walked around, and I wanted to go there because I wanted to go to a yarn store that was down there. And honestly, it was not great. So I won't mention the name, but I did buy some yarn. I wanted to try Hedgehog Fibers yarn, and my partner picked these out. I'm gonna make him some socks where this is the main color and this is the accent color. And I wanted to try this because I've been following Summer Lee's sock book. She's also on YouTube. I guess I can link her. You can go learn how to knit a sock. And she said she loved this yarn. And so before coming here, I looked up that this yarn shop had this yarn and I wanted to buy it. But like, honestly, see, the thing about yarn shops is that the people are always super nice and there's always this huge variety, and they come up and they're like, what are you doing? What do you need help with? Like, they'll match your colors for you and everything. And this yarn shop was not like that. It was totally empty, which is immediately a red flag for a yarn store, because yarn stores are usually active places where people are like sitting and knitting. And they had Hedgehog Fibers and then another brand of yarn that was it. So I don't recommend. It wasn't a good yarn shop, but that's okay because I had to work in Manhattan and I decided to go to a different yarn store just to make time. And this one was great. I went to, what's it called? Knitty City, which is like fun. And they were so nice. And you know, it was full of people. It was full of people who were knitting. Someone came in and was like, can someone look at my sweater? And everyone comes around. It was really nice. And so I bought a little project bag, but I also got some yarn to make something. I don't know what yet, but it's very pretty, and it was a nice yarn store. So I do recommend Knitty City. It was nice. Okay, that's it. There's no book content. Oh no. Okay, so I went to the Met. Like, I had 2 hours, right? And if you go to the Met and you walk through Central Park, Knitty City's right there. So I made it work. And I speed ran the Met. It's too big to do that. It's too big to do that. You can't do it. And I did see some really cool books. So I will try to find the pictures I took of those books. So I think you can tell from all of my fiber art talk that I'm just like suddenly really interested in crafting and how things are made. I'm really into pottery now too, like just the construction of materials. This was really cool. It's ancient linen, basically, like woven fabric. Amazing. So old. How did they do that? The world is on fire and I'm focusing on other things, like how materials are made. But like I said, we only had 2 hours or so in the Met, and we really wanted to go through their Egypt collection because it's huge. And there were so many rooms, and it was all very cool. I love looking at Egyptian stuff because it, like, obviously everybody loves ancient Egypt. It's just fascinating to see something that's like 5,000 or 6,000 years old, and it's like, this is a game. They built this game for children to play. Like, this is how they made shirts or sandals. Like, it's fascinating. It does feel a little weird as an adult. Kind of like going to the zoo as an adult. Like, you're just walking through and like, this shouldn't exist, right? Like 100 years ago, a bunch of New Yorkers ransacked Egypt and now display the things and charge $30. And like, I'm really happy to see it, but should we have it? I don't know. How do you feel about that? What do we think? Again, it's really cool. Like, they have all these sections of like walls with inscriptions. They have all these ancient statues. That right there, the little black and white, is a game. It's just really cool. Like, how did they make this? How did they carve it? Like, I'm really interested in crafting, I guess. Like, the technique to shape stone. Fascinating. So cool. So this was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life. This is Egyptian models of rooms. So like, that's a room where they're slaughtering cows, and there's a room where they're like weaving, and there's a room where they're growing olive trees. And these models were discovered, and it's just a really cool depiction of ancient life, but also I like to imagine that this is some kid's like high school project from 4,000 years ago and they just stumble upon it and they're like, whoa, brilliant, of course. Like, it was really, really cool. Like this little olive, I think that's olive trees, right? Like a little garden, like how many people could fit in a room, like what they were doing, the techniques they used. Again, more fiber. This is weaving. It's so fascinating. Like especially as someone who just started knitting like last year. Like to imagine them weaving these fabrics with these tiny threads. Like, do you know how hard it is to manufacture stuff like this? And then they had this little trinket room, and what I'm holding on there are weight stones. So it's like a unit of measurement, like to purchase grain and stuff. I found that really interesting. This whole room was just tiny trinkets, which so cool. Like I'm so fascinated in the daily life of ancient people. There's like lots of little toys and little games and jewelry and stuff. It was so cool. Really impressed with the art and like the depiction of humans. Like you look at hieroglyphs and you're like, oh, they're drawn sideways, but like you can really tell that they had the ability to draw things like as a human would look, but like that's just the choice they've made. Also, all of the hippo stuff was so cool. I loved all the hippo stuff. And this is probably the best and most famous room at the Met. So this is a temple that was underwater that the Egyptian government like had the Met come and like voluntarily gave them this if they were able to like dig it out and preserve it. So this is an actual temple and it's like the actual scale size and they've just rebuilt it in this room and it's so cool. And there's a bunch of like graffiti all over it, but there's graffiti from like 10 years after it was built, like 1000 BC, and there's graffiti from the 1800s. It was so cool. Here's one of those books I was talking about, and lots of stained glass stuff, which I also really like to see, just like from the crafting aspect. I spent a little bit of time in the European section, and it was just a lot of Jesus imagery, like a whole lot of Jesus imagery, all the paintings, all the statues, and like I get it. It's just I don't know, it's less interesting than like the Egyptian gods, I guess. I don't know. The stained glass is really beautiful though. This fountain looked so weird. Like you just imagine the water coming out of that guy's face. So what a choice, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um and this is just more like Italian Renaissance stuff. Oh, this was really cool. It's an Afrofuturism room. I always love this. It's so pretty and colorful. And there was a little sound display you could listen to while you were looking at this. I always love Afrofuturism. It was a teeny tiny room though. I wish it had been bigger. And then I started looking at the armor, which again was really cool. This stuff is also older than I thought and also weighed more than I thought. The suits were like 50 pounds, and I really thought that that was like a fake thing, that they must have been lighter because people were wearing them, but people were just legitimately wearing 50-pound armor. And here's another one of the books I saw where people had like colored and drawn the little knights with what colors they wore. It was fun. I love to see those handmade books. And I wish like somehow you could turn the pages, but I guess that would break the book. So they just chose the best page. Like I'm still so interested in like craftsmanship. And the thing I was noticing about these was like there's buckles, like a belt buckle. Like when was the belt buckle invented? And you see these like seams in the finger joints and things. Like how did someone make this? Hundreds of years ago, just like an articulated suit. They had the horses with the horse armor, which is really fun. Just a bunch of, just a bunch of really cool armor. That guy looked huge compared to the other guys. At this point, I was so exhausted. I went upstairs and there was like a balcony cafe and I got some coffee and a cookie, and the cookie was very good if you happen to be in the Met. I stopped by the European paintings, and again, just like a lot of Jesus, a lot of John the Baptist. I mean, these are really cool though, but did they get tired of painting the same thing over and over and over again? I guess they were probably commissioned to paint the same thing over and over again for like different people's homes, but like it's kind of boring. It's just the same over and over. There's Jesus again, or John the Baptist. I can't tell. Like they're always just babies. Yeah. Maybe we can fast forward through some of these babies. Okay. More Mary. Okay, here's some more stuff that started getting a little bit cooler. That's like a version of hell, I think. So that's kind of fun. I do love how big these paintings are. Like they just take up your whole room. And like there's multiple levels and stuff. It's really cool. And here we go. This is this is the kind of art I want to see. I want to see ships. I want to see landscapes. I want to see buildings. That like mountains or ocean, that's the kind of painting I'm into. And this was kind of the last room I think I was able to see before I had to escape. So it's good to end on the paintings I'm more happy to look at. Cool. I didn't get anything at the Met besides a neck scarf, which is not a thing I wear. I just thought it was really pretty. So the print on it is this lamp, and I just thought that was really cool. So that's it. This is my New York souvenir and some yarn, and it's over. This was it. This was all I had time to do. It wasn't that long of a trip, but it was great. Can I recommend the subway, the train? Not driving, it's amazing. What's going on with public transit in this country? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I also, now that this is knitting, I did make this. This is the Olga sweater, and shout out to someone on Blue Sky. I posted a picture, and she was like, "Hey, all your stitches are twisted," and that was just, she was so kind. Like, she was so nice in the way knitters are so nice. The way she pointed it out was just like, hey, and so I fixed it. So this is like a really fun document of my knitting skills because my stitches are twisted to like right here, and then the rest look much better. So that's kind of fun. But this is it. Sock progress is here. I really thought in 2 days while I was here just knitting I could finish a sock, but I can't. So that's fine. I also started the Blob, and I'll probably finish it in a couple of days because it was really interesting. I don't want to review it yet, but I did start it and it was fun. So that's where I'm at. This is the end. Oh, if you are staying in Williamsburg at the Penny, there's a Sante Fe BK, and they have breakfast burritos that are very good. So big recommend on that. And I'll see you back in Boston, I guess. Bye. Bye. You met her smoking cigarettes in the men's. So I'm back in Boston and I'm editing this video, and I realized I didn't update you on the actual books that I actually read. So I did read The Blob and I did finish it, and I liked it a lot. It's kind of a coming of age story, I would say, but not like the teenager, like someone going into their mid-20s and realizing more of what they want. The fantastical realism element was interesting, but I don't think it was that well developed. It didn't seem really important to the story at all. And so I feel like it's false advertising a little bit to market the book that way, but I did really enjoy this book. Although, as I get older, I'm kind of not as interested in reading about 20-year-olds. The same way I think when I turned like mid-20s, I stopped wanting to read young adult. Like I'm just like, yeah, I remember being 23 and I'm glad I'm not 23 anymore. But
I did like this book. I thought it was fun and I enjoyed reading it. It was funny. I like a funny book. And then I read one of the books I bought. That's right, I've already read one of those books. They're not just sitting on my shelf. I'm so happy about that. I read The Employees by Olga Raven. I think I've already said what it's about. People are on this ship and they're there with humanoid robots, and it's about work life. Like they work on the ship. And it is a sci-fi story in that it's got humanoid robots. It's a ship in space. They're exploring a planet. But I don't know, if that is the sci-fi element, it's kind of derivative. Like if you read sci-fi, you've already read this story. Interesting about the story, I think, is the other elements. Like it's set in this sci-fi world, but it is about work and the futility of work and what it's like to be a human when everyone in your world is talking about productivity and you're doing these meaningless tasks that don't make sense. It did remind me a lot of The Factory and also Severance, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of the best sci-fi books I've read in a long time. And oh my God, that cover art is so, so good. All right. I think that's the end. Okay, see you later.